have popped a link into the chat. So Nada's done that for me. What that link is, that is a sign up link to Digital Wings. Now, we are a small team that sits sort of outside of the bank. We don't really have anything to do with the banking side of things. And what we do is we offer a free service, which is digital upskill. We do that in a lot of different ways. We run lots of different projects with lots of different partners, organizations, charities, loads of different people. So it's a very broad range that we do. And to do this, we've created a free platform called Digital Wings. Now you can see on my screen right now, I do have Digital Wings loaded. So that is the Digital Wings platform right there. And what this is it's a resource full of different learning modules. So what we've done is we've worked closely with yourselves. We've built a learning pathway for you. That's what that link is, that is in the chat. And what we've done is we put in the modules in there, which we believe will support you the best. And so all you need to do is you just need to click the link. It'll take you directly to a sign up page. On that sign up page, we really don't ask for too much information, only what you'd need to log in. So name, email address, password. The reason we need your email address is in case you need to reset your password or recover your password. You obviously need that to reset it. And obviously your name and then a password to log in. There's also a box in there that says company code. And in that box, you need to put those characters which come below that link that we shared. So there's a company code, 4 characters, SDRT. Very important that you put those in. And then once you've done that, you will have full access to all of the resources available. And again, these aren't banking related topics. These are all things digital. You can also scan a QR code as well to sign up. Now, today's session is all around that communication for work piece. And I'm going to highlight 3 different resources that you can use to enhance communication across work, so digital communication. One of those we are using today, which is Zoom. So I'll touch on that. I'll go through a few pieces on there. We'll also look at Teams, so go through a few of the demos on Teams, and then finally have a look at OneDrive. Now, all of these modules are accessible on Digital Wings. So if you do want to come back, review anything in your own time, we have put all this into the pathway for you. Now, again, to do that, I am on Digital Wings. There is a module called Communicating for Work. And if you go into there, I'll just show you, just scroll down a bit, you'll find all the different modules in there. Now, we've got modules in here on OneDrive and Zoom, which we will be covering off today. But there is also, if I scroll down, it may be up because I have scrolled away down to come through here. There is also a module in here, which is all around Microsoft 365. And there are a few sessions that I have run with you already and will be running, which look at different Microsoft products as well. So if there's anything you want to refresh yourself on, so Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Teams or Word, it's all in here. And again, Teams, we will be looking at today. So loads of modules, and you can use those step by step, or if you want to refer back to anything to recheck your learning. Now, 2 of those modules, what I'm going to do today is I will literally just open the modules up and then walk through them. And then with the Teams, I'll do more of a live demo with you today. And then what I'll do is I'll open up for any questions at the end. Now, bear in mind, I don't have access to chat today, so I can't see if you are typing questions in there. So if you do want to ask any questions, pop them in. I'm sure Nada will be able to pick those up for me. Or you can come off of mute and ask any questions as well. That'd be absolutely fine. So we're going to go into the Zoom module. Now, again, the way Digital Wings is laid out for you, we have different topics, so you don't have to do the whole module. You can just go into certain parts of the module and do different pieces of learning. I've got some really key points here which you can look at. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go straight in. And as I say, all the writing's on the screen. I will expand on pieces, but I'm going to touch on Zoom to begin with. Now, we all know we're seeing more than ever these communication tools being used by business organizations and even in our personal lives. And since the pandemic, we have seen almost a mass adoption of this different type of technology. Obviously, it's been around for many years already. We've seen different things like Skype, even our video calling tools that are available to us on different social media platforms. But as I said, we have seen this mass adoption since COVID. And there are actually some figures out there which suggest businesses have moved their digital strategies forward on average 7 years because of the pandemic. So we are effectively 7 years ahead of where we would have been in terms of digital use case for the way we run business now than we should have been. So we're effectively 7 years ahead. And as a result of that, as I say, we are seeing lots of different jobs being formed. We are needing to use these new technologies. My role that I am in, and Matt, who is also in this call, entirely digital role. We don't have an office. We work from home. Most of my team I've only met once, and that was at a Christmas event. The rest of the time we are spread all over the country, but we work very closely together using these communication platforms like Teams and Zoom. So that's obviously why we're bringing you these sessions. And for yourself, if there's anyone you would like to support with that, you can use Digital Wings to support them. Because as we know, there is a growing skills gap. People aren't confident with these new systems and technology, and when they serve a very great purpose, and you can effectively do most business through these platforms. So we know that Zoom is a video conferencing service used by really anybody. So again, it doesn't just have to be business, it can be individual schools. And again, during the pandemic, that's probably when I was introduced to Zoom, and I started using Zoom. There were lots of people using Zoom at that time to hold family gatherings or with friends. And again, they'd use that Zoom platform. Now, you don't need a Zoom account in order to join a session. I know you're all on the session today. I do have a Zoom account. That's how I managed to get in today. And all of you, or some of you, or none of you may have a Zoom account, but you don't need one to join a session. All you need is that invite. And I received my invite today via an email from a link, which was from Nada. I just clicked that link and it opened up my Zoom app, and then it let me join the Zoom call. Now, in that invite, you obviously get those joining details, and you may even get a meeting ID and a password. You don't always need those. Sometimes people will put certain controls in place just to ensure the security of the meeting, in which case you will need to put in a meeting ID and password, and obviously just filters out anyone who shouldn't be in that meeting in case the link got leaked to anybody. Now, the free version of Zoom, it allows you to attend online meetings and obviously catch up with lots of different people, so friends, whatever it might be. Now, in Wings, we have also included lots of videos from Zoom themselves. So if you do want to have a visual guide and you don't want to jump on another session, you can watch these videos, which can take you step by step through lots of different tools and controls on there, including things like Zoom rooms, which are obviously those office spaces. So you can create a Zoom room. Again, you can do it in classroom, home, doesn't matter where it is, and it obviously enables that person to have those remote meetings in real time, exactly like we are doing now. And now, obviously, I keep mentioning there's a free version. There is a free version. There is also a paid for version, a licensed version. And I'm just going to highlight some of those differences. So obviously, they offer this completely free product. What that allows, as you can see, is up to 100 participants, unlimited group meetings. However, they have a time cap. So after 40 minutes, that meeting will end. And that's what I was used to. Obviously, again, when I started using Zoom, I had big family or friend gatherings on Zoom. You get to that 40-minute time limit and the meeting would end. You can also have unlimited one-to-one meetings, and these fortunately have a 30-hour time limit per meeting. Now, I personally couldn't see a scenario where I would be sitting in a one-to-one video call with someone for 30 hours, but that facility is there, again, in a one-to-one setting. You can also have access to private and group chats, just like you have access to a chat today. That is part of that free Zoom package as well, and you can also filter that down to private group chat. Now, there is a difference with the paid for or licensed version of Zoom. And again, you're probably more likely to get that. You will get that in an organizational setting. Now, the fee paying accounts, they offer a few different things. So obviously increases the number of participants that you can have in meetings. So you're no longer limited to 100 people. that does increase. It also removes that 40-minute time limit, so no more getting kicked out after 40 minutes if there are several of you in a meeting or more than one. And you also have the ability to record meetings exactly like we're doing right now. So that can also be distributed around to anyone who misses this session. So again, 3 very useful features there: unlimited participation, increased number of participation, no time limit, and also the ability to record and save those meetings. So we also include lots of links in Digital Wings, so you can just click on those. It will take you to their website, will take you to the relevant pages as well, which will just explain different types of accounts if that's something you are interested in. Now, obviously, there are different ways you can access Zoom, and one of those that you can access it through is you can have the Zoom application as part of your mobile or on your desktop. Now, I have it on my desktop. Again, that is how I access the meeting today. And in order to get started with Zoom, you do need to register for an account and then download it. So once you've registered, you then have the option to download the Zoom account. Now, again, I will just state, you don't have to have Zoom in order to join a meeting, just that sign up link. But this is if you want to download an application for Zoom, you do need to register for that account. Now, again, registration, very simple. Just head over to the website, sign up button, top right-hand corner, enter in a few verification details. And then there are 2 main options that you will have. So firstly, you can create your Zoom account through an email address. So this can be work or personal. It says here, best use your work email if you sign up with work, for obvious reasons there. I've used my work email to sign up with my work. And again, that's why I have those applications. Or there is another way. You have single sign-on. So if your company is a partner of Zoom, you can use single sign-on, and that will automatically register you if you're working with your company network. And again, that is what happened for me. I had single sign-on. It was a couple of years ago that we signed up to Zoom. They had that all in place. And we automatically registered through there because we needed to use Zoom to run several meetings. Now, I use multiple platforms on a day-to-day basis, so I need to ensure I have those accounts all set up. Now, again, in a personal standpoint, again, can be work standpoint, depends the situation, but more informal in our setting today, you can use Facebook or Google to sign up as well if you're logged into those, just like you sometimes do with other accounts. And that way you can skip all the data entries. It will just pull them from your Facebook or Google account, and then it will register you. Now, once you have registered, again, no matter whether it's SO or email, as it states here, you'll get that email with a confirmation link. You do need to click that to verify the email address, confirm, and then you will be registered. So how to download it? As it says here, once you're registered, you can either download it for desktop, Android, or iPhone. And again, on this module, we do have links to all of those. So if you do want to do this and you want support doing that, again, in a personal professional environment, you can follow these links. So again, it will just make sure you check that everything is updated regularly, just to make sure you can log into Zoom. So how do you actually create a meeting? Probably the bulk, the main part, this main thing that people come to these meetings for. They want to know how to set up these meetings. And so what we've done is we've just included a whole section here of how you can create your Zoom meeting. Now, again, we have included these videos, and these are step-by-step videos that will walk you through exactly what you need to do. There are some very simple steps to creating a meeting. Again, obviously, to create a meeting, you do need a Zoom account. Now, to create it, you do need to sign in, and then there's an option that states meetings. You simply click in there, and then there's an option to schedule a meeting. And from there, you just input all of the information and click save. So again, for visuals, there is a 5-minute video here that you can watch in your own time on Digital Wings in the Communicating for Work module if you need to do this, and it will take you through step by step. Now, we all joined the meeting today, so I won't go through this one in too much detail, as otherwise, if you didn't know how to join a meeting, you wouldn't be here. But if there is a scheduled meeting, there are a couple of ways you can do that. And as we know, one of those is either you can go through from the email link that you may have received from somebody if they've sent that through to you, or you can simply log into Zoom where you'll have the meetings that you've been invited to, and you can join the meetings that way. And again, we do have a step-by-step if you're stuck at all on that. Finally, how do you invite other people to a Zoom meeting? So say you're in a meeting, you can then go to the participant section. So if you look at your toolbar, you'll see there is a option that says participants. At the moment, I can see there are 11 of us in there. You click on participants. That will then show you who is in that meeting. Now, if you are the one who has organized the meeting or has been given, say, co-organizer to the meeting, you will have a section of controls in there where you will be able to do different things. So at the moment, I don't have that because I am not the organizer of this meeting, but in there you will have different controls. Now, one thing I will highlight is, again, in that section, there's an option to invite more people. So maybe you create a meeting, in the meeting, you can then just start adding people into that meeting, inviting them from there while it's live. There are several other options as well. So as we're showing here, you can have the option for email. So you can click the email tab, select an email provider. So again, it says default email address, invite people using the email. You can also go to contacts as well. So in the contacts tab, you can select someone's name on contacts, and then again, you can invite people that way. And then finally, the way that I came to the meeting today was through a link, and many of you would have done that today. And again, you can send that link invitation. So you can either copy the link because it would generate it for you. You can pop it in an email, text message, social media, whatever it is, depending on the context of that meeting. But again, as I say, we have included lots of different how-to videos in here to go through in your own time. I'm not going to play them all today because we will be here for hours, and all of this content is available for you. Now, one of the most important things in a Zoom meeting or any communication meeting platform that you use are meeting controls. Meeting controls ensure the safety of everyone in that meeting, and also it just ensures that the meeting won't get disrupted. And we've probably all seen lots of videos emerging online, especially again through the pandemic, where lots of people were using these platforms where they hadn't put meeting controls in place, and you did get lots of disruption or people joining the meetings who shouldn't be in meetings, and that's why it's important to have these in place. Now, again, there are a few ways you can do this. So one, secure your meeting before it starts, or control the meeting when it started. So a good way to control the meeting when it started is by maybe having a co-host or a co-presenter, someone who has all the access to those controls as well. And they can just be checking the participants, checking if there's no disruption or people who shouldn't be there, whilst the other person presents, and doesn't have to have all their focus on that. However, what I like to do when I set up a meeting is I like to put those controls in place before the meeting, especially if I'm going to be on my own in that meeting, just to ensure that I'm not worrying there will be any unwanted disruptions or distraction. So one really good way of securing a meeting is to have a waiting room. So on Teams, I often create waiting rooms so people can't just jump straight into the call. Instead, I will get alerted that they're sat in a waiting room, and then I can admit them into the meeting. Now, really easy. That is probably the easiest way to secure a Zoom meeting. And as you can see here, it says one of the easiest ways to secure the meeting is to turn on Zoom's waiting room feature. The feature will provide a virtual waiting room, meaning you as the host will admit people into the meeting individually at your own discretion. And again, we have included a video exactly how you can do that, but it's something to think about. Waiting rooms, very useful feature, and it's something I use day to day, same as Matt, my colleague, who's in here too. Now, you can also schedule meetings with different IDs. So obviously when you register for Zoom, you'll get a personal meeting ID. That ID doesn't change and is a quick and easy way for people to quickly connect to you through Zoom. Now, you can also schedule new meetings, which will generate a new meeting ID, meaning only those that know the ID can get in. So you can schedule, you can create those new IDs and only they will have it. It's like a password to get into the meeting. Only they can access that meeting or find that meeting. You can also add a password to meetings, another really good control. So like I said earlier, you might get the meeting ID and password, which you might need to join the call. Again, you can apply that setting, which means that those people have to put in the password to join the meeting. You can send that with the invite, and it's just a way of ensuring if someone stumbles across that link and they haven't had the password, they won't be able to join. Now, a few more ways that you can add some controls here. I won't go into too much detail. We do have a video around how to create all those passwords and manage those user IDs as well. But I'm going to look at some controls you can use when you're actually running the meeting itself. And we have some of those controls in place now. Now, one of those meetings is to lock the meeting. Once all of the attendees have arrived, say you could do that based on if you know who is meant to join, or you could even leave a time limit. So maybe if no one joins after 10 minutes, I'm going to lock it just to avoid disruption. You can lock the meeting. It then means that no one else can join, and it just gives you peace of mind that no one that you don't know is going to come into that meeting and start disrupting everybody. You can also control screen sharing. So I'm sharing my screen right now. You can apply an option which determines who can share their screen. Now, you don't want to be running a meeting and lots of people just keep trying to share their screens, again, causing a disruption. So having that in place can ensure that only those that need to share their screen and are meant to share their screen can. And it says here, you can easily toggle that feature on and off from the screen sharing menu, as well as the security menu. Now, one thing I will say, you won't be able to see those unless you are the host or the person who has set up the meeting. You can also disable the chat. So again, maybe someone's being disruptive. You can disable that chat. Again, maybe it's a safeguarding issue. You don't want people coming in there, putting in inappropriate things, especially if you've got a huge audience and you don't know everybody that's in there. Disabling chats is another way that you can do that. Same as turning off annotations. So Zoom allows a feature where you can actually draw on the screen and add annotations to the screen. You can all see why that would be a problem, again, if it got into the wrong hands. So you can disable that for the entire meeting, or you can disable it temporarily. Muting participants is another one. So again, in that participation menu, which I explained before on your toolbar, if you click in there, you can see all your participants. You hover over your participant, you can see we have those microphones. Now, again, if you are the host, you will be able to mute certain people. The only one that you can mute at the moment is yourself by hovering over your name. But if you have the ability to do that, you can mute people. And then again, it just ensures there's no really loud background noise or any of those disruptions. I use mute every single day because you know that people will come into the meeting as sometimes they're talking or there's a lot of noise. You need to mute that person. Now, I mentioned making someone a co-host, very useful. You can assign them the same privileges as yourself, and then that just ensures that they can handle those controls while you are running that meeting. And then finally, you have the ability to remove participants. So if somebody shouldn't be there or they've caused constant disruption, you can kick that person again by hovering over the participant, and then you can click remove from the meeting and they will be removed. So I'd say lots of different options here. Do go through this. There are some more pieces on Zoom. I'm not going to go through those as there are two other topics that I do want to cover off today. But as I say, on our Digital Wings platform, we've got all those videos, everything that I've discussed today. So have a look at that. What I am going to move on to now, though, is Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams, very much like Zoom, lots of the same controls. Microsoft Teams is that virtual office space, and I use Teams every single day. That is the main way that I interact with my colleagues. Rather than sending emails as well back and forth, we use Teams. Rather than using other platforms like WebEx or Zoom, my team will call each other in Teams, and I also set up meetings in Teams as well to run for other people. So it's something I use a lot, and the use case of Teams has exponentially grown again as a result of remote working. Now, Microsoft Teams allows two different experiences, either desktop or mobile. I will be doing everything off of a desktop experience today, as that is the main feature that you would use probably day to day if you were using Teams from a workspace environment. Mobile, very similar. It's just you don't have access to as many features. So I do use my mobile Teams if I'm out of office. For instance, if I'm going and doing a talk or a session in person, I'll have Teams on my mobile. And again, I'll just keep track. People can still call me on there, set up meetings. I can still join meetings, and I can chat to people through instant messenger. So I'm going to go to desktop. Now, in Microsoft Teams, you can obviously do loads of different things. It was designed to be a virtual office space. Now, in Teams, you have a navigation bar. One thing I will say, if you do use Microsoft Teams, some of these may look slightly different to yours. That's just because there have been updates since these demos came about. Do not worry, all the features are still the same. So when you open up the Teams app, again, you can download that, you can sign up, you can have it as an application on your desktop. And it is part of that Microsoft 365 Office suite. So if you're used to things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they integrate a lot of those same features into Teams because it is Microsoft. And also, Teams synchronizes with Outlook. So if you use Microsoft Outlook for your emails, Microsoft Teams synchronizes with that. And everything that is on the calendar for Outlook will appear on your Teams calendar, and anything you put on your Teams calendar will appear in Outlook. So a lot of the same features in there. So as I say, this is the navigation bar, very simple, not too much to it. So it just helps you navigate your way around the screen. And what I'm going to cover off today to begin with is probably the feature of Microsoft Teams that I use the least. And this is going to sound very strange, but that feature is Teams. So in Microsoft Teams, there is a feature called Teams. Now, yes, it carries the main name of Teams, but it isn't the one that I use the most. I use it more of an interaction basis day to day. Now, teams are basically lots of different groups that you can create. I'm going to explain this in the way that we can all relate to most easily. So you can create a team. So you can see they have several ones here. They've got a general team, they've got marketing, they've got overview, performance. So they've got a few different teams here. And in those teams, you can create different subcategories in there. And basically, you can post lots of different posts. So easiest way to look at it is probably like a Facebook timeline where you see all those posts and you can interact with them. So you can see in here, they have gone into their team. They've clicked on posts, and you can see people in that team are posting updates. They're adding attachments to it, and you can see people are interacting with these posts. They can also mark them as important, so people get a notification, and they can also tag certain people in these updates. As you can see, this person has tagged someone in there by just doing the @ symbol and type in their name. Now, the reason I don't go into too much detail in here is because in my organization, I can't actually create teams. And another thing is, if I have been added to a team, usually there is an admin around that where they've only allowed certain people to create certain posts in there. So I can only reply and comment. But if you do use Teams, you want to create a team, it is a great collaboration tool. You can add several people in there and you can all work on different projects. You can add different subcategories, as you can see here, like we just looked at, and you can put different posts related to different things. You can use it almost like an online forum, but the difference is you can actually post things like a Word document, an Excel document, whatever it might be, and you can allow people to collaborate on those documents in real time who are in those teams. Now, create a team, you simply just go to Teams on the navigation bar, you click create a team, and then from there, really straightforward, it just allows you to create teams, build one from scratch. You just pop the name in, very simple, as they say, they're just popping the name in here. This isn't me typing, this is Microsoft's live demo. And then they just create the team. You can then add members in there. So you just start typing them in. And again, as I say, this is linked to Microsoft Outlook. So it will look through your Outlook calendar and start adding people in, especially from an organizational standpoint, or you can just put their email addresses in there. Now you can make those teams private or public. Again, using the different options. So you can see we have the ellipses here. If you click on there, you can then manage your team. You've got all of your different controls in there, nice and straightforward. And then, as you can see, these are the team's channels. So we've got our team. We then have the channel. They've gone into their marketing channel. And then from here, you can see it says channels keep work, conversations organized by specific topics and projects. And here you can have conversations, share files, and work together on different projects. So again, very useful, lots of integration tools that you can use in those teams. Now, as I mentioned before, and I will just skip through this, I don't use Teams too much. And the reason is because my team that I work with, what we do is we tend to operate more on a basis of just ringing each other through Teams or using instant messenger. And I'm going to cover off those pieces in more detail. So on Teams, we've got a chat feature. And in here, this is where we can have instant messaging to different people. So again, you can do this just by typing in their email address or searching them from previous conversation history. But if you're used to using different instant messenger sites like WhatsApp or even Facebook Messenger or Instagram direct messengers, you're going to be very comfortable using Teams Messenger. It's just an instant messenger service, but you can do so much more in here. So as you can see, we got our recent chats and we also got pinned chats. Now you can have chats of one-to-one, so just between you and another person, or you can add more people into those conversations and have big group chats. And that's why we don't tend to use Teams, the Teams feature as much, because we have lots of group chats in the instant messenger side of Teams. Now, how do you create a new chat? There is an icon next to the search bar. You just need to click on that. And then it gets you to type in the people you want to chat to. So again, if it's just one person you want to chat to, you just type their name in, it would look for their email, you just pop it in, or you can type their email in. And then you just simply type the message. And you can format that message, again, similar to Microsoft Word. They have those similar features in there. So you can add the different formatting options. You can underline text, highlight text, change coloring, paragraph structure, and the size of those words. So maybe you're in a group chat with several people, you want your message to stand out, you can apply those formatting options. Once you're happy with the message, you just click that paper airplane symbol or hit enter. It will send the message to that person. And then they will get a pop-up notification. And as you can see, if you have an unread message, it will show in this bold font like so. It also has the time that the message was sent. You just click on that and it will open up the chat conversation. Now, group chats are used to help smaller groups communicate as well. So I use lots of group chats day to day. Here you can see they've got one project wildlife discussion. If we just go into that, you can see it's got a name for the intended purpose. As we say, there are lots of people interacting in that chat. Now, you can also share files in there. So below we have an attach option, so you can attach files in there. And any file that has been added to a conversation, if you go to files in the chat, you'll be able to review all of those files that have been added. So you don't have to scroll through the conversation looking for them. And it's a really great collaboration tool because if you share those files, you can then work on those files together in real time in Teams. So you can all add adjustments, make amendments. Again, a really great team working piece. Now you can also pop out chats. So there is this little option if you hover over the chat that you want. It's like a square with an arrow. If you click on there, it will pop the chat out. It will give you a separate window. Just means you don't have to have Teams open, and you can navigate through other areas of Teams or other features or other programs without having to have, as I say, Teams open. You could just have that chat open. Now, how do you actually create meetings in Teams? So you want to hold a video call and you want people to come to that just like a Zoom call that we're in. You can do the same in Teams. Now, there are a few different ways that you can do this. Now, as I said before, Outlook is synchronized with Teams. So you can go to Outlook and you can create a Teams meeting in Outlook, or you can just do it directly from Teams. Two ways to do this. One way, you can just click somewhere in the calendar, open a Teams meeting, start adding the people into it. Or you can go to your calendar and you can click new meeting. Once you click new meeting, you just pop the title of the meeting You then add the attendees. Again, you can pop email addresses in here or just search their names. Make sure you put the time and date, and you can put some information on the meeting. And then once you're happy, you just click send, and then that will send an email to those people, and they can accept or decline that meeting. Now, if they have accepted that meeting, they will have this solid block. I will zoom in a bit just to show what I'm talking about. So you can see there's this solid line next to each of these meetings, this purpley blue line. That just shows that you have accepted the meeting. If you haven't accepted the meeting yet, that will be a broken line. You can only just see it here in this company meeting example. You can see we've got a broken line next to that. That's just a meeting in your diary that hasn't yet been accepted. However, if you do decline it, you won't see it at all. It won't appear in your calendar. Now, you can add it in Outlook, as I said before. And the way to do that is just go to your Outlook, so Microsoft Outlook, your emails. You can go to your calendar and click New Meeting. Now, if you click New Meeting, you can add the people to it, and it will automatically create a Teams link in that email. If it doesn't automatically create a Teams link, on your toolbar, there should be an option that says Teams Meeting. Just give that a single click, and it will apply the meeting link for you. But as I said, because they are synchronized, if you go into Microsoft Outlook and create a meeting, not an appointment, it has to be a meeting, you have to add people to it. It will then apply a meeting link. But if it doesn't, you do have the option to add it manually. Now you can then use the calendar to join those meetings. You don't have to go to your emails and look for the joining link that person sent you, because once you accept it, or even if you don't accept it, not decline, it will show in your calendar. So just click calendar, and then once the meeting has started, you'll see this box appear that says join. Just like Outlook have applied as well, they now have that same feature where once a meeting starts, you'll see that join option. You can click join. So does Teams. You can just click join, and then it will give you preparation to join that meeting. So first, it will tell you how many people are in the meeting, and it will suggest you muting yourself to avoid disruption. You can also get your camera ready before you join the meeting, just to make sure everything looks okay, and you can apply different effects to the background. Now, I've done something similar in Zoom today. I have blurred my background because there's a few things going on behind me, so just avoid distraction. But you can apply those virtual backgrounds. Again, just removes the distraction, makes it look a bit more professional. Get yourself ready, and then join the meeting. Once you're in the meeting, you'll see everyone in there, and you do have that toolbar, the same as we got in Zoom today, with all those different options. Now, in Teams, you also have the ability to add live captions to your meeting. Now, live captions, they will be subtitles as the person who is hosting is speaking, and they've integrated their own AI in there, which is fantastic because it basically deciphers what you're saying. So if there's lots of ums or ahs or pauses, or the sentence doesn't really make too much sense as the person's speaking, it will restructure it to make more sense. It will remove those repeated words. And it's just a great tool for people who are deaf, hard of hearing, or maybe they can't have their sound on or having problems connecting their sound. And to access that, you just click those three dots on the toolbar in Teams, and there is an option that says turn on live captions. You also have the option to share your screen. And in Teams, just like Zoom, once you click share screen, it will ask you which screen you want to share or how you want to share it. So maybe you want to share your desktop. So that will share everything on your screen. Maybe you want to only share the window you have open. So you can see I have this one window open at the moment, but you can see I do have 4 other windows open at the top. I will just select share window, and that way if I click onto lots of different windows or I'm chatting to my colleagues in the background, you won't see it because I've only selected the window. Do be cautious though. If you are flicking between multiple screens, as I have been doing in this presentation, you'd want to share your desktop or the whole screen. Once you share the screen, you know which screen is being shared because you will have this red line appear around the outside of your screen. And that way it will stay there at all times. And you know that is the screen that is being shared. If you don't see that red line at any point, it means they can't see what you're looking at. So this just goes into a tiny bit more detail on chat. So again, we mentioned the chats before, how to create those chats, the different options you have in there, sharing different files, formatting options. But one thing I do want to highlight is in those chats, you can also just call someone directly. And you can see we have these options in the top corner. You can click the video option, that will video call the person, or you can just do the phone option and that will just do a voice call without your camera on. And you can also share your screen in there as well without video or talking. And again, you have the same features in there, slightly less options than you would have in a conferencing or group meeting. But again, you have those one-to-one options like sharing your screen, you have chat in there as well. And then finally, just some tips and tricks. So in Zoom on the main page, on Teams on the main page, you have your profile icon. I will zoom in slightly here. You can see profile icon. If you click in there, you can set your status. So if I just go up a bit, you can see we have available here. And this person, you can change that to busy, away, whatever it might be, out of office. And that way it just alerts people to when you're free or not. Now, one thing I will mention that if you are using Teams and you have something in your calendar, it will automatically set you to busy. So just be cautious that if you have put some admin things in there, which you may still be available to people, just remember it will put you to busy unless you manually change that. You can also set a status. So maybe it says busy. You can set a status saying be back in an hour, or maybe you're out of office. You could put an out of office status in there, just saying you're on annual leave, whatever it might be. One thing I will highlight that in Teams, if you set your status to do not disturb, it will block notifications. It's a useful feature if you are running a meeting. So for instance, I am using Zoom right now, and I'm sharing my screen. Now, Microsoft Teams doesn't know that I am sharing my screen to you in Zoom. So if I didn't have Do Not Disturb on, I would still be getting notifications popping up on the screen. You'd see what my colleagues are saying, lots of different things. I could get organization information leaked or sensitive information leaked to you. And also it doesn't look very professional. So when I do a meeting that isn't in Teams, so Zoom, for instance, I always set my status to Do Not Disturb, so I don't get all those pop-up notifications appearing on my screen, distracting everyone like yourselves. Now, if you run a meeting in Teams itself, because you're running it in Teams, Teams knows that, and it will automatically set you to a presenter mode, which will block notifications for you. So you don't have to remember if you are running the meeting in Teams. Now, this person's just putting a status head back in an hour, and also they can choose how long that status appears. It's like an out of office. If you went on holiday, you can put how long you want to be out there. And then this just touches again on group chats. So group chats, easy way to manage. I'm in my group chat here. In the corner, it shows how many participants we have. So you can click on there, and you can add more people to that conversation if you click on it by adding their names. And you can include some options like don't include chat history, or include the past number of days, or include all of chat history. And then you can add them in there. By clicking on the pen icon, you can change the name of the group as well. I would recommend everybody does that. If you're using group chats, it just differentiates what different groups are. And then you can also pin your chat. So if you pin a chat, it will appear at the top. Again, very useful because I have hundreds of chats. Every time I run a meeting, a new chat is created as well. And it's very easy to lose certain things, especially if there are important group chats. So I click the ellipsis and I click pin, and it just pops that to the top for me. So it always remains pinned up at the top. Again, in Teams, you can mention certain people. So in any post or anywhere on Teams, if you just do the @ symbol, start typing their name, and then click to select them, it will send that person a notification if you include them in that message. To see any notifications, you just go to your activity feed. And then from there, you can filter down the different notifications. So maybe someone's mentioned you, you can go to mentions, replies, unread, totally up to you. You can also save messages as well, very useful. So maybe someone puts something in that chat which is very important, maybe it's an important message and it's got some files which you need to review, but you can't right now, you're busy, or maybe you're going out of office for a few days. You know that's going to disappear in the next week or so. You need to save that message. Again, you can just hover over the message, click on the ellipsis, and then from there, you can click Save Message. And then that will go into a small area under your profile. And if you click on your profile, there is an option that says View Saved Messages. And then that'll take you to all of your saved messages through time. Now, that is everything that I want to cover off on Teams, because there's one more tool that I want to showcase to you. And again, don't feel you have to remember everything today. It's a lot of information. As I say, you do have access to Digital Wings, which takes you through everything I cover today in detail. And the final thing is OneDrive. And this is the OneDrive module on Digital Wings, exactly as I showcased a moment ago under that Communicating for Work module. And you can access everything we're looking at right now. So finally, OneDrive is another tool that people can use to connect and communicate with other people. What is it? It's a cloud-based hosting and storing service. So you can store your files on there, and it's part, again, of that Microsoft Office 365 suite of programs. So you've probably all heard of cloud storage. What is it? We got a dictionary definition here. Cloud computing is the practice of using a network of remote servers hosted on the internet to store, manage, and process data rather than on a local server or personal computer. So instead of saving everything on your personal computer or device, you can save things to a hosted internet storage space. And that way, it often offers lots more storage, or it offers the ability to log in to your files on any device. They're not saved directly to that device. Now, by using the cloud, you do need the internet connection for obvious reasons, because you will be connecting to the internet to access the storage. And again, it's pretty much instant, and you can access it anywhere in the world. We do have some videos again in here too. I'm not going to play all of them. I am time conscious. But what are the benefits of using OneDrive? So firstly, we got syncing. So you can sync your files to OneDrive, and it means that your files are updated between your computer and the cloud. And that means you have access to files from a device you don't normally use. So maybe you save everything to the cloud. That just ensures you can access it from any device if you have your OneDrive login. It means you don't have to carry your laptop around all day. Maybe you can go to different locations, log into OneDrive, and then you have access to your files. It also means your files are safe and easily accessed should your computer get lost or stolen or develops a serious fault. It's also a good way of creating backups. So I have my own personal cloud storage, which I save all of my photos to from my phone. And that way, if I broke my phone, it means I haven't lost everything, because I can just go log into my cloud storage on a different device. Sharing. So most email accounts have a restriction on the amount of data that can be attached. So we know that we often try and send emails, and sometimes it says the thing we're trying to send is too big, especially if it's a large spreadsheet, presentation, or video. OneDrive allows you to upload those files to the cloud, and once uploaded, you can share that to colleagues directly. So you can link people in immediately. We use OneDrive in our team every day to share files, and we all have access to those files. Just means we don't have to send them via email and come across those problems. And that links into the collaboration piece. So when you store your files on OneDrive, you can easily share and collaborate on files with others. And that would this would save you from having to keep emailing documents back and forward, as I was mentioning before. And it means more than one person can work on the file at the same time, even in any location in the world. Now, how do you get started with OneDrive? This has logged me out, so we'll quickly log back in. There we are, perfect. So how do you get started with OneDrive? So obviously it's part of that Microsoft 365 Office suite. You do need to have that in order to access OneDrive. And once you have it, a couple of ways you can do it. So first you can go to your start menu, and you can simply type in OneDrive. You can see I have OneDrive right here. So I can click into OneDrive and open it that way. Or there's another way that you can do it if you are logged into OneDrive. If you look at your taskbar at the bottom of your screen, you see I've got this blue cloud down here. And if I click on there, it will open OneDrive for me as well. Now, you need to log into your Microsoft Office 365 account using your email and password when you first log in, and then that will take you through. You can also access it through Microsoft Teams. So on Teams, you have the option to go to Files, and then in Files, you have the option to go to your OneDrive items. So again, because OneDrive is Microsoft and because Teams is Microsoft, they link. You can log into both, you can synchronize both, and you can access both. So again, there are two different ways you can log in there, either for your desktop or through Teams. Now, once you open OneDrive, this is what the OneDrive landing page looks like. And it is simply like File Explorer. File Explorer being the files on your computer, which I'm just highlighting on mine at the bottom. You're probably all used to that. And you can create all of your different folders in here. You can add new folders, duplicate folders. And again, you can then just start storing things in there. So create a filing system in OneDrive exactly as you would in File Explorer. And again, because I'm using a Microsoft computer, the same features carry across from here to here. So if you're used to using your files in a Microsoft computer, you're going to be very comfortable using OneDrive. Now, there are a few options in here. So at the top of the screen, you have My Files, and then from here, you can click New, and you can create a new folder, or you can create a document directly in OneDrive. So maybe you want to create a PowerPoint presentation, but you want it saved in OneDrive. You can click New, PowerPoint presentation. You can then create your presentation, save it, and it will save in OneDrive. You also have the ability to upload. So if you click Upload, you can upload different files or folders from your computer or device. And then at the side of the screen, we have this information bar, and this just helps you keep up to date with what's going on. So you may share your documents with other people. And again, in that information bar, it's just a good way of just checking who's done what if you are sharing documents. So it shows you if you've created new documents or if someone's edited something or something's been deleted. Again, it's just a timeline of events that have happened to your documents. So managing folders, or files or folders, so really easy in OneDrive. Again, very much like File Explorer, where you exactly the same way you manage those files, you can do the same in OneDrive. And as you saw from that previous landing page, you can upload files, folders, or open a brand new document in there. You can also save to your OneDrive directly from any document you're working on. Again, say it's a PowerPoint, as you can see here. They just click Save As. Once you save as, you would see OneDrive on there. You can click OneDrive rather than saving it to your PC. If you click OneDrive, it will open up your OneDrive documents, and you can just save directly to OneDrive. You can also open up File Explorer. As you can see, this is File Explorer, like my files here. And you can just drag and drop files into OneDrive. So on here, you just scroll around. As you can see, you've got My PC, but you can scroll down to where it says OneDrive. And again, you can just drag copy files across to OneDrive. And this just shows you how that is done. So you can see they've got a File Explorer open in two places just for the purpose of this presentation. Those are your files on your computer. They've grabbed a document from PC, which they've saved, all My Documents, and they're dragging this across into their OneDrive folder, which is open. As you can see, we have OneDrive here. They're just simply dragging it and dropping it. It then copies it across. And then it's uploaded. So all it is that storage system. They are your online files. Nice and simple. We've added a few different things here, but the final thing I want to cover with the final minutes I'm with you are those sharing files, because you can use OneDrive to work on documents together or share with other people. Now, one of the main benefits is to share them to colleagues, and you can do that by sending a secured link, which allows you to work collaboratively on those files. We have included, again, different videos in here how to do this. So I will just play this. Hopefully we don't get an advert on here. So this will just walk through how you share. So obviously log into OneDrive. From here, you can see we've got all of our different files. So you just select the file that you want to share. And then at the top of the screen, you have this share option. then there are a few different options you can do here. You can also directly send it by clicking share and then typing in the email address of the people you want it to go to or the person you want it to go to. And then once you're happy, you can click anyone with the link can edit. So maybe you want them to make some changes. So you can then click on there. And it just allows you to add a few more options. So you can allow editing or not allow editing. Maybe you want to send it to them, but you don't want them to make edits. You can untick that. Or maybe you want to send it to them and you want them to make edits. So make sure you have these controls in place. You can add a password on there for security, and then you just simply click apply and send, and then they will receive a link. You can also share that link as well by copying the link. So we'll just, again, select a file or folder. We'll go back to share. Again, choose anyone with the link. Apply the settings. And then as you can see here, we have an option to copy the link. You can copy that link. So you haven't actually added anyone in, as you saw a moment ago. They haven't added any names in because you've clicked anyone with this link can edit. So you don't need to add the names. You just click copy link, and then you can send that link to people on whatever platform it might be. And then you can send that across maybe as a text message, email, WhatsApp, whatever it might be. They will then have the link. If they click in the link, they can then apply whatever controls you have set up. And it's a very easy way. Now, the final thing is, how do you remove permissions from people? Maybe you've added people, shared files. I'm just going to click my file. I don't want anyone to work on this anymore. So I'm just going to go back to share. From here, I'll just type the name in. You pop a message to the person, just say that you finished working on that document. So obviously they've shared their document, but we're going to take Matt off. So Matt's on that document. We don't want Matt on there anymore. So to remove access, you just right click, manage access. And then from here, we just choose the person and you can just press that X and it will take them off and they no longer have access to that document. So again, OneDrive, you can use to either create a filing system or you can share documents for people to work on. Now, as I say, loads in that session today. That is the time limit for this session. So do not worry, we have included all of those 3 subjects and more on Digital Wings. So do have a look. They are just highlighting different communication tools you can use as an organization. But thank you so much for coming on the session today.